הוד והדר לפניו.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm coming to you from the university campus, Kerith, where you
That's
spent
so
lots
nice.
of time, but I'm excited to be here.
You're just
Shabbat-
a couple miles up the street from me.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, hello. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I already saw Merle and Kelly, so Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for giving us a shout out. It's wonderful to be with all of you. Big night here in Los Angeles, Dodgers versus Giants. This is a big night, but mostly it's a big night because it's Shabbat. So with that in mind, before anything else, let's light some candles and do some blessings for Shabbat.
I have my candles here. I think you can see one of them, and you're going to see the flame in just a moment of the other one. And if you're lighting candles with us at home, you can take a moment just to gaze into the beauty of that flame and to draw that beauty and the warmth of the candles, the warmth of Shabbat into your own heart. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. And as we welcome the Sabbath into our homes, we sing this song, Shalom Aleichem. I'm going to do the tuning song as I share a little bit about Shalom Aleichem. With the words of Shalom Aleichem, we also imagine these angels outside of our own homes as we are preparing for or celebrating Shabbat, and we invite them to join us in our home, hopefully with the glow of these candles and with the joy of Shabbat filling our own homes. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Boechem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Baruch Huni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShavit, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sitechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShavit, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
This week, we're going to talk in a couple minutes about the story of Noah. But this week, along the lines of Noah was this horrible oil spill in Orange County. And also there was a headline about a variety of species, I think 23 species that are now listed as extinct, added to the extinct list. And that made me think actually about a story that I actually told the preschool this morning, not about oil spills or environmental disasters, but really linked to the idea of the power of the ocean and the importance of the fish in the sea. Because there's a children's story that goes that, well, when God said that God was going to destroy the earth, the animals were fearful of this and wanted to call out to God and find God and plead with God not to do that. So the elephant, which was the biggest, said, I will go to the biggest place and I will call out to God and find God. So it goes to the highest mountain, but God is not in the largest place, the mountain. And then the eagle soars to the highest of heights and says, God must be up at the highest place, and I will go there and I will find God and I will plead with God. But God is not up there in the sky. And then the lion roars very loudly and says, I'm sure the loudest sound will bring God here and get God's attention. And then that's when we will plead with God. But God is not in the loudest sounds or the thunder. So they go to the fish, and the fish say, you guys all have it wrong. Why are you looking at the largest thing, the highest thing, the loudest thing? Don't you realize we've already learned where God is? See, as fish, we are constantly surrounded by water. We don't even notice it. It's just a part of who we are. It's how we survive. And if you can come to realize that God is just like that water, God is all around us, that's where you can find God. And so because of that, God rewards the fish. While all the other creatures have to only have 2 of them survive and go on the ark, all the fish get to live. That's why, of course, they don't have to go on the ark, because they already knew that the real place to find God is all around us. So with that in mind, we have to think about how can we not only take care of our world, but how can we constantly remind ourselves that God is not only in the largesse of the world, but God is all around us. And the way that we remind ourselves of that on a daily basis is with the Shema. And we'll continue with that now.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed.
as I mentioned, this week's Torah portion is Noach, a really well-known and well-documented story. We focus mostly on that ark and the fact that Noah takes 2 of every kind of animal and puts them on this ark, and they survive, and then there's a rainbow at the end that is God's sign of the covenant that God will never destroy the world with the flood again. But what we don't talk about so much is what happens when Noah gets off the ark. And you may or may not know this, but what Noah does first is he plants a vineyard. He becomes the first one to, make wine, and then he gets extremely shikar and drunk off that wine and passes out in his tent, and his son finds him. And there's a whole story there. You should go and check it out. But what's interesting about this to me is, this is Noah's response to tragedy, to trauma. I think about everything that we've been going through the last year and a half, almost 2 years. And there are many ways in which we can respond to the tragedies and trauma around us. Noah is an example of what we should not be doing, which unfortunately, according to statistics, is something that many people around the world are doing more often, which is turning towards addiction and other forms of self-medication in order to get through the challenges and anxiety of what we're dealing with right now with this pandemic. But just the little note that Noah was righteous in his own age. According to the rabbis, he wasn't righteous for all time. Maybe one of the reasons is because he has still a lot of challenges of dealing with the trauma around him. Now, he's of course not the only one, but it is a reminder that what happens after the story of Noah is that we learn about Abraham and Sarah and our first Jewish family. The fact that they had a tent that was open on all sides, that they brought people in. That one of the ways that the Torah seems to be teaching us is not only what we're not supposed to do, which is to just, lose ourselves with all of this anxiety and drink or whatever else we may find around us, but instead to surround ourselves with family and community, to make sure that we have a support system that can guide us through those challenging times in our lives. So maybe this Shabbat, you pick up the phone, you send a text to someone who you consider to be a part of your tribe, part of the group of people that in those moments of anxiety or depression or challenge that you can turn to. And hopefully you have many people on that list, but at least you need one. And hopefully you have one that you can at least call or send a text to and say Shabbat Shalom. With that, I turn it back to Cantor Shapiro.
So happy you're a part of my tribe, and that my tribe has grown so much over these past couple of months. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful teaching. We're going to finish our time together in this short taste of Shabbat with the words of Oseh Shalom, praying for peace within our homes, within our communities, and peace all over the world. And that great peace, the peace that is represented by shalom, wholeness. Oseh shalom, shalom bimramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful Shabbat.